It'll be 1 to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy, coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, 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 dig, 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 go, 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 go.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
I've got nothing but respect for Bobby Labonte and what he's done in this sport. Obviously he's a champion. He's a great race car driver, and I don't think this necessarily had anything to do with him. I think this was Yates Racing had 5 races or whatever it was that needed sponsorship, and we were able to bring a little bit of that over to him. And obviously being with Roush Fenway Racing, coming up through their truck program, their nationwide program, they have an affiliation with them, and I think ultimately down the line they probably wanted to get me in some Cup races eventually anyway, but with the way it is over there right now with 5 cars, I got to go down to 4 next year. I don't really think they had too much room to do that. So when this opportunity opened up, they said, let's go for it. Obviously, I'm very excited to be in this position that I'm in right now. It's kind of a little bit unexpected, I guess. It kind of all happened in a hurry, but I feel very fortunate to be in this position. Very excited about making my first start here this weekend. Atlanta's a track that I really like. Run well here in the trucks in the past, and it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, a learning curve for me. I haven't spent much time in a Cup car before, and qualify well and run all the laps. That's the big goal for this weekend. If you're sitting on jack stands, you're not learning anything. So for me, it's going to be going out there and just running all the laps and trying to get a finish out of this and proving myself, like you said. I think that's a big thing. I'd like to earn a chance to race one of these things next year, and this is my opportunity to do it with these 7 races right here. So
this track is so challenging anymore. I think this track can be a big player in who makes the chase or not. I mean, you're going to have a lot of green flag runs. If you're off a little bit, you're going to go down a lap. So I think this race is going to be big for the bubble guys and who's going to be in this thing or not. I'm excited for it. I've never felt this good about starting the chase in the past. Our cars are spot on. Mentally, physically, I'm the best I've ever been. I feel that the team is the same way, I should say, and doing really well. And it'll be, the first few races we'll get a good sense of who's where, and who's really going to be a contender in this thing. And hopefully we're one of those guys, and we can start grinding it out and wearing these guys down. The way you drive this track, the setup that you end up with here, really doesn't apply to Texas or Charlotte any longer. You can't sacrifice mechanical grip here for aero balance. Where on the other tracks, the asphalt is still pretty new, and the tire wear isn't as high, and you can focus solely on aero advantage and not really worry about tire life. And it's quite the opposite here. This track reminds me more of kind of Darlington the way it used to be than any other mile-and-a-half track. We've had a bunch of victories kind of slipped through our fingers here lately. It'd be nice to have those points, but outside of that, I think we have the speed in the car, and if we can take a chance to win the race, we should do that. But at the same time, running in the top 5, having great pit stops, it's good for the team's confidence and for mine as well. So
you have to be ready in all 10 chase races to put together good average finishes, as well as compete for a win. So it's I like what you're thinking, but yet it's really just an average. I still think it gets down to consistency when you're getting into the chase. You can now, with double file restarts, get on the gas. You're running against guys with you for position, whereas when we were stuck on the outside lane as a lead lap car, it would take 5 to 10 laps for the lap cars to get filed out. Then you would go and race. Then you hoped your setup was dialed in. Now you got to have it right away. I think drivers get excited about that. That's the tracks like Darlington, where drivers say is their favorite, or tracks like Richmond falls into that category. Michigan falls into that category. I think that you're going to see some guys that ran good at Michigan this summer run really good here this fall, based off the tire change and some of the similarities in track surfaces. And so it's just one of those fun places that the driver knows he has more control than what the engineering and crew chief do.
I'm confident with our team and I'm confident with our abilities. I just don't know racing-wise, if something crazy is going to happen in front of us or whatever. I mean, I'm fully capable of running out of talent. I've done it before, but it's just a matter of you get these two good races, and obviously 2 top 10 finishes answers everything. That doesn't change anything. You're still racing 42 other guys on a given weekend to try to get those points. So no matter who's in the chase, you're still racing those other guys. And that to me makes more of a difference than who's who's the other group of 11 that you're competing against. I think this is just like any other racetrack where if you got 12 chase contenders, you're gonna see 8 of them at least in the top 10, and that's just that. I'd say if you look back at every other race before that, that's just the way the numbers work out. And I don't think that this is a prove-all for any type of season or weekend or race in reference to a championship contender. Obviously we've got some correlation to Indy and Daytona and places like that, but I think this is just a good racetrack that we'll all go out and run the wheels off the car.
This is NASCAR Newscast Weekend Preview Edition. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is set to begin a new Labor Day weekend tradition when it returns to Atlanta Motor Speedway for Sunday night's running of the Pep Boys Auto 500. Sunday's race marks the first scheduled Sprint Cup race held under the lights at the 1.5-mile Superspeedway, and Jeff Gordon is looking forward to what he thinks will be one of the most exciting races of the season.
Well, I'm excited about racing there at night. We ran one night race there. It wasn't scheduled to be at night that I can remember, but I think we won that race. But Atlanta's just a fantastic track. I think it should be even better under the lights at night, and I always look forward to going to Atlanta. I think it's one of our best tracks.
Ryan Newman has a NASCAR record-tying 7 Sprint Cup poles at Atlanta, and he's hoping to add to that total, as well as making a trip to Victory Lane this weekend.
I think it'll be great racing on a Saturday or a night race in general, compared to the day races that we typically have there. I mean, to me, some of the neatest laps we run all year are night qualifying laps at Atlanta, and I've been pretty successful with that. So racing at night there will be, I think, good for the fans, being that it's cooled down a little bit, and fun for the drivers.
3-time Atlanta winner Jimmie Johnson leads the drivers to watch this weekend based on NASCAR's Loop Data driver rating system. Johnson has compiled a rating of 112.2 over the last 9 races held at the track, while last fall's Atlanta race winner Carl Edwards is next with a 108.8 rating. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon follow closely with ratings of 101.4 and 101.3. Atlanta is one of only 2 races left on the schedule for drivers to qualify for this year's chase for the Sprint Cup Championship. Kyle Busch sits just outside the top 12 in 13th place, 34 points behind, while Brian Vickers is 14th, 39 away from the final transfer spot. This is NASCAR Newscast.